Okay, so in this video I am going to be making a pepper spray holster for my pepper spray right here. So here's the plan. It's going to attach horizontally to my belt like this, pretty much, right there. And I can just pull it out like that. Like that. I already cut out layers because I forgot to record it. So here's the back layer. It's going to be like this, pretty much, and like this, and then I'm going to wet mold this piece on top, like that, and then this goes over like that. So the next step is to install the snap on this top piece before I wet mold it. Okay, so that didn't work. Okay, this might be a bad idea. I might destroy my knife. Okay, you know what? It's not great. You could probably pry it off if you want to, but I'm not trying to catch a noise complaint, so I'm calling it good enough. Next step is to bevel, sand, and burnish this part. So it turns out beveling is actually quite hard with this snap in the way, especially beveling the other side. So I'm definitely going to change that in my order of operations for the future. Next, I'm going to hit it with some sandpaper, and then I'm going to burnish. Now I'm just going to burnish with the end of my knife. Oh yeah, time to wet mold. I've never done wet molding before, but I think I have a plan. So first I got to get this wet, obviously. Now I'm just gonna try to do this. I'm gonna form it with my fingers first, and then I'm gonna hold it down on the three sides with some flat things. Oh yeah, I'm leaving some fingernail marks. That's unfortunate. Now for stage 2, I have Lord of the Rings. So basically what I'm gonna do is this, and this, and I'm just gonna set this off to the side, pretty much. Okay, while that is drying, I'm going to do some edge work and finishing on these other two pieces. So I'm actually gonna crease this one right now. I typically crease 1/8 inch away from the edge, as you can see. And I also typically wet my piece a little bit just to help the crease stay a little better, because I don't have the means to hot crease right now. Okay, that's this piece creased. My creasing is a little bit messy, low-key, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, I've creased this piece as well. I think that looks pretty nice. Let's finish the edges on these guys now. So let's do the middle first. It's time for the bottom now. So ideally I would give the wet molding more time to dry, but I'm kind of lazy, so fuck it, we ball. First thing I gotta do is cut this down to size, because I did not make it exact because I didn't know how long it would have to be when I made the design. Okay, I have trimmed it to size. It's a little bit scuffed, but it's fine. It's fine. Next, I actually have to finish the edges on this piece as well. Okay, so I have come to the conclusion that it was a massive mistake to take it out of the wet mold before it was actually dry, so I am going to do this properly this time and put it back and let it actually dry before I continue working on this piece. It's been another few hours, and I think it's dried enough that I can continue working with it without ruining the molding. Okay, that's all we need to do for this piece for now. I already did these two pieces, so now it's time to attach the top to the middle. Huge tip, by the way. Wear rubber gardening gloves when you're sewing. I see some people use pliers to pull their needles. In my entirely unqualified opinion, overkill in most cases. This does the job fine enough. So my motivation for this project. On a conceptual level, I think everybody should have pepper spray as part of their EDC. Even if you know martial arts, even if you carry a gun, a knife, or whatever. It's just such a good non-lethal option. On a realistic level, I don't actually carry pepper spray all the time. One of the reasons is that I'm lazy. Another one of the reasons is that I didn't have a convenient way of carrying it. I'm not a fan of pocket carry because although it's good for draw speed and concealment, I'd rather not have more bulk in my pockets than I already do. And it's also boring and lame. And I'm not a fan of carrying it clipped to your keychain or whatever because it's too slow for you to access it and get a good grip in a situation where you would actually need it. I always see girls walking around with their hot pink pepper sprays clipped onto like the back of their backpack or something weird like that, and I wonder how they actually plan to use it if they need it. So hence the holster. It lets me draw really fast, doesn't add more stuff to my pockets, and most importantly,
it's quite cool.
Okay, next I pretty much have to measure this out because, again, this is my first time making this design. I don't know how long it actually needs to be. Okay, that's pretty solid. Okay, so now I can finish the edges on the strap. Okay, so there's one step left, which is really multiple steps. We have to glue this up. Time to stitch. Well, there it is. It's definitely not pretty. There's little markings all over the place, random super glue stains, and the pieces are not exactly lined up. But for a first attempt, I'd say that was pretty successful. So my reflection on this project. The biggest issue with this design is that it fits way too tight onto my 1.5 inch belt. I thought the width would be okay when I was designing it, but apparently not. I can get it on there and it doesn't exactly damage anything, it's just a bit inconvenient. So I've ended up not wearing it that often. However, I tested it with a 1.25 inch strap that I had left over from another belt project, and it does fit very nicely onto there, so I'm thinking eventually after I start selling my work, I might produce 2 different models of this holster, depending on the client's belt width. Setting the snap rivet was also really jank and loose, and it's too late to fix it now, but I've done some experimenting in practice since recording this video, and I think I have a good procedure for setting the snaps now. The wet molding did make the fit of the pepper spray super immaculate, but it was more hassle than I expected, and I really don't think it's actually necessary for this project. It's not like I'm wet molding over a square shape, it's just a cylinder. So it should naturally just fit once it's broken in. And finally, this is kind of a small thing, but I feel like it should be made out of thicker leather, like 5 ounce. There's nothing wrong with the 3 ounce thickness exactly, but I just feel like 5 ounce would suit this kind of item better.